Hotline League is brought to you by Omen by HP. We've got Fool on a Hill here. Fool on a Hill, clearly you're calling from a hill, but can you tell us where the hill is located?
The hill is located in San Diego, California.
Hey, my hometown. I love San Diego.
I actually
What?
just moved here.
Oh, well, it's great. I want to move there when I retire. If you're on a hill, you're probably in the La Jolla area.
I'm not actually on a hill.
Oh,
This is actually, yeah, I'm
well,
sorry. I lied to you.
listen.
My bad.
That's a terrible way to start the show, or start the call. But what do you want to talk about?
So first off, I want to lead this. I am a TSM fan, so sorry, chat. I know everyone in this chat hates TSM fans, but that's okay.
Let's go.
I want to talk about how TSM obviously has a huge problem with proactivity, lack of it. And I think the main issue seems to be stemming from Bjergsen's style of shot calling and how he plays a really slow, methodical, controlled game. And the Peter was actually the only source of like aggressive shot calling on TSM. But now that he's off the team, and they actually brought on Mithy, who's actually also shares Bjergsen's same style of slow shot calling. So I think that this team is probably doomed to fail in international, unfortunately, because
All right,
I
you're a
want them
TSM
to
fan
do that.
predicting TSM to fail internationally.
Yeah, I know.
What a hot take.
I'm fitting. Yeah, I know.
I didn't know he was gonna say that. I saw the
Get
bit
him, get him
about-
off the show, Mark. Screen these callers.
I saw
man.
the bit about the.
I'm just
Bjergsen-
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Bjergsen's
Fool.
the problem.
He's
kinda
in San
shot
Diego.
calling.
He's a great guy. I'm happy to have him here, even if Twitch
wanted
chat is
Saints
spamming
to
the
say
hang up
that.
emote. All right. So the question is, maybe we can formulate this as: is TSM's roster? Do you think that this roster? Here's a question: is better or worse than last year's Full on a Hill?
It's hard to say. I think it might be slightly better. I do think that unfortunately that the shot calling that Mithy's bringing isn't really adding much in like types of playstyles they can bring. Because if you look in previous iterations of TSM, they've always had issues with early to mid game decision making, and I don't know if Mithy's really bringing much of that to the table. Whereas I definitely think that Double Lift was bringing a lot of that when he was on TSM. Because back in 2016, I honestly feel like TSM looked like they were the best possible iteration that could have been successful internationally, because they were such a dominant early game team and they were just stomping competition. And so with that major voice gone now, I don't know if they're actually going to be able to be successful internationally.
Okay, so you think worse is what all that amounts to, I think.
That's fair to say.
And Cop and Twitch chat is spamming worse. So, reformulating this question, Saint and Mark, do you think it's early enough? Can we say, is TSM worse than they were last year? And is this roster not going to be better than last year's?
I would say for now they're worse. The roster is really weird to me because like remember when Double Lift wasn't on TSM before, and then I remember they said that like Hanser had to pull like a lot more weight in the shot calling and stuff. And you guys remember the meta then was like, all right, I'm the Malachi or whatever, and like I'm gonna push out the side lane, and then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna start the play, and then we're gonna have the fight. Like he's playing Gangplank, like the hell is he's gonna like TP in and like shoot somebody with the gats? Like it just like they can't bring that voice in. He can't fill that hole. And I like he was even talking to Hunter about this like after this weekend. Like you could tell that I don't know what it is, but like Mithy should be the person that's facilitating a lot of these plays, like Mithy and Mike Young, because like that's where the positions of where plays get made now in the game. And he's building like QSS first item on Rakan when like you notice every single other like good Rakan player like Gorilla's going Zeke's because Zeke's gives you like the most rundown power and like allows you to be as explosive as possible. Like he even did it like on Tom Kench when he didn't need to. Like he's building scared, and like you can tell just by like I don't want to get caught, and then like I could lose the game or like he could catch me out. Like just you can tell just by his item builds without even like knowing anything about the team that like that's not the person that's like hitting the hammer, like starting the plays and like getting things done. If you're building like that, you're scared, and you can't be scared when it's like a 40-minute game and you gotta make the play to like get some shit done. And then Mike Young he's still a rookie in my eyes. Like I don't know, he did have his time on P1, but I don't think that like did you look at the champions that he came from? He was playing like Nidalee and like all these like pick type champions, not like big team fight facilitators. So when it's really hard to like start a big team fight as just the tank and be the primary engage in a big game, because literally everybody is waiting to like either flash your ability or to like QSS or like get out of it in some way, shape, or form. So if it's not perfect, you literally instantly lose the game. There's a lot of junglers that you can see that are trying to do it. Like Acadian is like a prime example of that. And you can see like the Acadian and Mike Young type junglers that are like really fumbling this. So I think this TSM's problem is they don't have somebody that can facilitate plays like this like every single time, and that's why they look like they're choking and that they don't know what to do, because like is it in the back of their mind like, oh, I'm gonna fuck it up. Like that's why we can't do anything. So they just need to. I think their coaching staff needs to go in and like kind of like show like what every single team that is really quick and strong about their plays are doing, and then just kind of like run it over with the people that are responsible for it and like get them out of like that like funk that they're in. Because I think Mithy and Mike Young are mechanically, gifted enough to do all this kind of stuff. So
It's actually funny how similar this answer is to the one that Saints just gave that I gave to Thorn earlier in the day when we were talking about this kind of stuff. Like, I agree. There's like Hanser was a huge part of like their engaging previously. Like it wasn't Biofrost, it was kind of Sven, and then it was like Hanser on a lot of tanks and stuff back when tanks were more meta. And he is like he's the most aggressive player on TSM generally speaking, like in terms of laning and stuff as well. So I was saying a similar thing where it's like it sucks that they don't have Hanser to engage anymore because he's just spamming GP. And TSM has like really amazing gold lead stats and stuff like that, but when you look at their games, you don't see them doing much to get those leads. It's mostly off the fact that like they're all mechanically great, and then it's like they don't have the ability, either like the ability to sync up on an execution or like the mindset to look for it. I'm not quite sure which of the two it is, but like with the leads that they get, they should be closing games out like C9 and Team Liquid and Echo Fox.
Yeah, and that's definitely the point that I was trying to make, is they definitely don't have that cohesion or that drive. Like Peter definitely seemed like he was the main voice in making those aggressive shot callings where they could dive bottom lane and make all those plays and they could play around him. And I definitely think Hanser has been stepping up and is a huge rock for TSM. And I think I don't even blame Mike Young, because he is newer, and I definitely think he's been improving a lot recently. I mean, if you look at it compared to week one, he's actually making the plays on when he can and making the engages that he needs to. It's just, yeah, like St. Vicious was saying, it doesn't always work out, and then it can go really, really wrong really fast.
Great. Hey, thank you, Phil on a Hill. I really appreciate it. Mark, the next caller, can you grab Menberg or check with him and see if it's working?
Thanks for having me on,
sure.
guys.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. All right, so we got Avon Chow is a Biatch has subbed. Ranner TV subbed. Diablo CG subbed. Obi-Pon Kenobi subbed. Arrow Tempest, The Pit Father, and Killing You Guy have all subbed.
How much did Mengbung have to play to hop the line, Travis? Just so the people in chat know how much it costs.
Yeah, it costs $5,000. No,
the Disney Fast Pass.
Menbung is a sub, so I noticed in the sub chat that he was talking about this, but he specifically really wanted to be the person to counter that last call, which is why I asked him to hop the line. So Menbung, you have a different opinion on all this. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so one, I think Saint's been trying to hit this for the whole LCS. I think best of ones are the problem in judging team strength or cohesion. Two, I don't think that Bjergsen is like the problem. I mean, it's really kind of hard to say that Bjergsen is the problem when he's been on every team that's made it into the finals and arguably has been one of the strongest players in the world at his position or in general. On top of that, I just think that it's gonna take more time, because they should have beaten Echo Fox. There's no way they should have lost to Clutch Gaming. Their record is not who we think they are, to quote like NFL quotes. But when you just look at the way that they're playing, they obviously have cohesion problems. But this is best of ones. If you would have a best of three system, I think by now at the same week, we would have a better idea about, oh yeah, Song and TSM, they're getting all together, and Mike Young's got a really good hold of the jungle pool now, and how they are supposed to work together and allocate resources.
Right, there we go. So what do you guys think, Saint?
I don't know. You know what's funny about BO1? Like, could you imagine if last split was BO1? You remember how like it was always a running joke where like, haha, TSM lost the first game with the BO3 again.
Yep.
And this is like basically what it would look like. You know, pretty much. Imagine if like what their score would have been last split if it was BO1. It'd probably look something similar to this, right?
So, but do we think TSM is losing because they keep getting like cheesed or screwed over in these best of ones? Like there is, it's not like
No. Well, no, but like even last split, it wasn't like people like game one were like, here's all these ridiculous things that were, and then they would adapt. It was like they just, generally speaking, seemed to be like a slow starting team in game ones, like,
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they've never been like the like unbelievable.
Teams are weird in the BO3 like that because like even Dignitas, like we'd always win. We had like I looked at it as like 87% win rate or something on a BO3 like on the first game, and then we'd like have like an 80% loss rate on the second game. It's like we're gonna lose that every time, man. It doesn't matter how well we prepare them. So it's like some players just play a lot better in the first game, and some players may play better in the second game. It's weird. Some players need to be like warmed up. Maybe like some of the TSM players are like that, and then yeah. So it's kind of weird to like try to gauge like player strength in a BO1 setting.
Here's a question.
sorry.
No problem. For saying about best of ones. So like when the best of 3 change came through to the regular season, I was really excited because I was like, great, hopefully they get rid of it at Worlds 2 and stuff, but they never did, and it doesn't seem like they're going to. So if Worlds is going to have best of ones, are you more all right with best of ones existing in the league format as well, or do you just wish like even with best of ones in Worlds you would still want best of 3 in the league system?
On like the knockout stage, I think BO1s are fine. It's just I don't know. It's just a different game. It's like a different style. Like it's not like one's better or worse than the other. It's just like each has its pros and cons, in my opinion.
okay, but kind of getting back to what Menbung was saying. Sorry, really quick, Menbung.
No, you're good, man.
Is TSM getting screwed over by best of ones? Are they just the innocent victim team cast by a cruel system, a best of one system that doesn't allow them to show their true power?
I think they're a bad best of one team, and I would guess they're a bad best of one team. It's hard to say because we haven't seen this roster play elsewhere yet, but it seems like TSM has had best of one struggles pretty consistently.
So is that Riot's fault or TSM's fault?
Why would it be Riot's fault?
Well, I mean, here the reason I'm formulating it this way is because I think there are TSM fans, Menbung probably being one of them, that think like, oh, my TSM, why does Riot have to be so cruel and change to best of threes?
No, that's not what. Okay, this is my biggest thing: is that best of ones cause Reddit tier analysis across the board to where we just have instant reactions and CG beat TSM, therefore Clutch Gaming is better than TSM, and it's like, no. I mean, I'm from Houston, Texas. I love Clutch, but there's no way I can look at them on paper and think that, oh my god, if only TSM was playing best of threes. Like the caller before said that last year's iteration in best of threes was the best, TSM that he's seen, but they still struggled in game 1 of best of threes. Correct me if I'm wrong, any of y'all, but I don't think Song's ever coached in best of ones outside of World's knockout stage for Immortals or previously when he was in Korea. So like, I'm not trying to say that, TSM, woe is us. Like, yeah, y'all need to get your game together because this is what we deal with. Every team is dealing with best of ones. But to have this, it's Bjergsen, Mythian, it's just, give them some time because, like, again, it's technically like a best of one round robin, and we'll find out at the end. I think, like Saint said, like if it was best of ones last year, TSM probably doesn't even make playoffs. So the little overreaction from the community and especially some people on the TSM subreddit is a little bit overblown. I still think, because I called in 2 weeks ago and said, week 4, we'll find out if TSM's good enough. And I think we're at the place where we still think that they're pretty good.
You're saying you still think they're pretty good after this weekend?
Yeah, I think that you can see it in Clutch Gaming. They didn't secure objectives correctly, and then in the Echo Fox game weeks ago, that they did one overdie and through the rest of the game.
Very good.
Let me ask you this, Membung. So you don't, yeah, it's like, yeah, this is maybe a symptom of best of ones, but does it raise any red flags for you? That, like, when TSM inevitably rallies and wins the split again and all that stuff and goes to international competition, are you not at all concerned about
Oh no, definitely a concern. I think that's why like it's not something to where wow, Saint just left. I'm sorry.
I'm sure he's dealing with
probably,
a cat or something.
Yeah.
I think that it's a symptom of TSM, so it's definitely not like song or anything in particular, but like best of ones have always been a TSM problem, so I don't know if you want to put that on what's coming down from the top at Reggie, not to throw, daggers at the man, but that there's something inherent within TSM and how they run or read the meta within their staff that doesn't allow them to shine in best of ones. So going towards international events, as a TSM fan, you would be ignorant to think that, oh, well, we won the split, so we're going to do great at international events. It's like, well, international events are double round robin best of one, so good luck.
All right. So you're not saying that the system is screwing over TSM. You're just saying stop looking at Bjerg and everybody. It's just they need to figure out how to deal with all the best
Hold on,
ones.
Travis. I got a question, Membug. So there's a consistent problem with TSM and best of ones, and you don't want to throw daggers at Reggie. Who do you throw daggers at? There's not that many consistent players across the splits. In fact,
I mean, like, obviously, he's probably the consistent figure throughout all of them, even pre-Bjergsen. Now, granted, those best of ones are a little bit different, and the quality of the league scene was a whole lot different. The teams weren't necessarily as good, or probably read metas as well. But I just think that going from, especially for TSM fans, or especially the ones who like are anti-TSM fans, like love to see TSM lose, that this best of one like Reddit tier analysis overreaction is just a little bit too much. So I just think, oh, tilted head mark, gotcha. Okay, you want to come in on that? Chime in?
No, I'm just saying this is a lot of wordplay to get around saying Bjergsen's the consistent member.
Well, no, okay, so like, but if that's what the whole premise is, that Bjergsen's the consistent member,
I'm just mostly fucking with you, dude.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
it's fine though.
think Bjergsen's the problem
Can I
directly.
just interject? So
Yeah.
basically, the one consistent thing, and I mean, maybe you guys don't agree with me on this, but I'm like pretty strong opinionated about this. But the one consistent thing in TSM, and one of the reasons why they succeeded so much throughout the years, and the difference is that Reggie's probably not coaching the team right now. And guess what happens at the end of every split as it goes into playoffs? Like, Reggie starts coaching the team, and I don't give a fuck. Like, Reggie's probably the best coach in like NA, like easily, like better than Song, better than any of those people. And like, he's gonna come in and he's gonna get the shit together, and he's gonna get people playing aggressive, and he's like very aggressive in like the way that he makes plans in the game and getting stuff done. And I think that that's just really what's happening right now. And it's gonna come to the end of the split, like near playoffs, like week 8, week 9. Reggie's gonna be like, all right, Song, like you had your chance, like you taught Mike Young to play Sejuani, good job. And he's gonna come in, he's gonna get the shit together, and then they're just gonna come in and take like a fat dumpster on like TL or like whoever they got to go against, and that's just how it's gonna happen, and that's how it always happens.
Can I just reframe the kind of picture? Is it the same thing that y'all talked about 2 weeks ago with CLG? How there's no alphas on the team?
I hate when we talk about alphas. Yeah.
But that kind of gets down to what Saint's saying is that.
Well, look, rather than saying real alphas, maybe there's not any strong leadership or strong vision.
Someone that takes control, which I guess was the caller's, point about having double lift, but at the same time, that apparently comes with.
It's not the player. It's like, okay, I'll give you an example, right? So when we worked at Dignitas, all right, I'll give you an example. So basically, you know how you were talking before about 100 Thieves, and it's like all these players like have their different views of like how to do everything. We basically came at the end of the split. It's like, all right, someday, we're first picking you Maokai every fucking game. And he's like, but I don't want to play Maokai. That's nice. Like, you're Maokai. And, like, we're playing through bot lane only. Like, Shrimp, you can gank top one time. That's all you get. Then you're only going bottom, Like, we pretty much set up, like, the whole strategy for the game. And it's like, this is the game plan, and this is what we're going to do. It has nothing to do with being a Chad or being, like, whatever. It's about you go into the game, and it's like, you get everybody's ideas together, and you push them together in, like, one direction. It doesn't mean that one way is right or wrong. It's just that everybody's on the same page doing the same thing. Like that's all that matters.
And an example from this split would probably be C9, where like traditionally C9 ganks mid and they play around mid and all this stuff mid. And like Sven, when he joined C9, was like, I'm looking forward to being aggressive again and some stuff in some interviews. And it's like, well, now he's playing Sejuani Skarner every game and everyone's going top. And it's like, maybe that's not how everyone on the team wants to play that game, but I bet Reaper is like, this is what we're doing with Licorice. Deal with it.
Exactly. You think that Sneaky wants to be like, all right, Sneaky, you're getting no ganks. We're going top. It's like, nice. I love no ganks. You know?
Give me Ezreal, I'll farm with Q.
Yeah, like nobody wants to do that shit. Like, because somebody's going to get shafted. That's how like Pro League is. Somebody's going to get the short end of the stick. Do you think Sneaky gives a fuck? He's making like God knows how much money streaming. Like, haha, my butthole itches. We're ganking top. Like, yeah. Yeah, like he doesn't care. Like that's why it's like great that Licorice can look good and like they can play through that lane. You know, it's all good. Like it just doesn't matter what your playstyle is, what lane you go through. It's that you develop a strategy to go through. Like you need like one primary lane and you need like a secondary lane. And so like for C9, the secondary lane is like mid and then primary lane is top. So.
Well, then if your primary lane is...
Menbong, I hate to cut you off, but we have less than half an hour. We got some more
Thanks,
callers
guys.
to get through. Thank you so much for calling in and providing a different opinion.
Well, I think you know what you want to do for your highlight, right, Travis?
I mean,
Start
as soon
cooking
as
that one up.
people started talking about TSM, I was like, well, that's the YouTube highlight.
We only talk about TSM for money. We make sure to get one TSM topic a week so that we can make that highlight video.
I mean, the sad thing is I make a highlight video about Golden Guardians. Nobody's going to watch it, and those highlight videos are more about getting people to become aware of the podcast and the show, and so it's almost more of an advertising thing, less of a money thing. I just like it when people know about the show, because then they'll come and watch the Golden Guardians part.
Luckily, Saint also dropped probably the funniest bit in the show.
Good job, Saint.